I think we're into committee business now, so I'd like to move a quick motion that relates to what was discussed in the first hour. And the motion is that the committee call on Randy Boissonneau, Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Official Languages, to immediately resign from Cabinet, and that this call be reported to the House.
Point of order. Are we in committee business?
Yes. For the
Business committee?
For the budget, yes.
I thought we concluded that already.
Well, we haven't concluded the meeting yet, sorry.
Yeah. Colleagues, I think it's obvious why this is being put forward, why this is important. We have a Minister of the Crown who pretended to be Indigenous. He was described repeatedly by the Liberal Party as being Indigenous. He described himself as having a Cree great-grandmother in the House of Commons, which has turned out to be false. He misrepresented his identity, and we have heard repeatedly how serious Indigenous identity fraud is. And this minister did it for perhaps a variety of reasons, but clearly one of the reasons is that he was
Sorry, Mr.
allowed,
Generous.
able to
Order, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, Mr. Jonas. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Sousa.
I'm having some misunderstanding here. Can the clerk define, are we in committee business? Would you just not, what is budget or not? Like, I'm being told that this is not committee business.
We were in committee business for the budget. We hadn't adjourned, but committee business till it's adjourned or not committee business.
I understand. Moving a budget is not the same as committee business.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it's true that, for instance, when a committee does pass some budgets, it's for the purpose of writing the minutes. We will say that the committee indeed proceeded with the committee business. And also, I did notice that the chair, I think, mentioned that he wanted to do some committee business. So
No, we had committee business to pass.
But I think you've ruled in the opposite in the past, Mr. Chair.
We are in committee business, and Mr. Genuis has the floor. I understand what you're saying, but we are in committee business. Mr. Genuis has the floor. I'll put you on the speaking list after Ms. Blaney if you wish. Go ahead,
Chair,
Mr. Genuis.
this may be an uncomfortable subject for the Liberals, but the fact is we just had, before this committee, the Minister of Indigenous Services who affirmed that Indigenous identity fraud is a very serious matter, who pointedly refused to defend the employment minister at all. And we have a situation where, unbelievably, you have a Minister of the Crown who sits in the government, whose company pretended to be Indigenous in order to try to access government contracts. His company, GHI, did get government contracts, and it's still eligible for government contracts.
Yeah. I'm sorry, and Mr. Genuis, excuse me a sec. Go ahead, Mr.
Chair,
Long.
was this on the budget, or was this on the agenda, though? Man, this is not related to the budget.
Committee doesn't have to be related
can you guys
to the
learn
budget.
the rules, please?
I stated that we'd go into committee business at the end. We did that. We did not adjourn, so we're still in committee business. Mr. Genuis, you have the floor, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Look, the minister who was here wouldn't defend Mr. Boissonneau, and it seems that these Liberal MPs are using
Sorry, excuse me, Mr. Genuis.
fake points of order to try to
Chair,
defend
I'd like
Mr.
to challenge your ruling, please.
Certainly. Mr. Clerk.
okay, Ms. Atwin,
No.
Separately, Charles.
Mr. Baines,
We can discuss after.
Mr. Baines. The question is whether or not the ruling by the
That's
chair
funny,
shall be
too.
sustained.
Sorry, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to listen to this, but you're interrupting. Sorry, say it again.
The question is whether or not the committee would like to sustain the chair's ruling or not.
No.
Mr. Johari,
No.
Mr. Long,
No.
Mr. Sousa,
No.
Ms. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Jennings,
Yes.
Ms. Kuzi,
Yes.
Madame Vignola,
Wait.
Ms. Blaney.
Yes.
Yeas pour 5 and nays contre 5.
So,
You need to break the tie, Mr. Chair.
yes. I shall abstain myself. Mr. Genuous.
Well, thank you, Chair. This is striking that, whoa, sorry. Yeah. It's so striking, but I'll try to lean back a little bit. Yeah, I'll try to contain myself. Thank you. Okay, so the Liberal Minister of Indigenous Services is unwilling to defend Randy Boissonneau over this issue of Indigenous identity fraud. Yet you have Liberals who are trying to avoid the discussion of this issue.
Point of order, sir?
Point of order, Chair.
Yes,
Is there a motion? Like, I don't know what he's talking about.
He read the motion into the record.
Well, I didn't quite understand that motion. I didn't quite hear it.
But then why did you challenge the chair over it if you didn't
Because
hear the
we're
motion?
not in committee business. We're not in committee business.
We are
I'm
in
challenging
committee
that point.
business.
Like, what were
I
you
have
challenging?
ruled.
we're not.
Colleagues,
Like,
please, let's address this.
I haven't seen. I'd
will
like
ask
to
the
understand
clerk
clarity.
It was read out, but I'll ask the clerk if he could
Please.
report it out to your P9. Continue, Mr. Genuous.
Okay, so the motion has been moved. It has been distributed, but if members would like it read again, the motion is as follows. That the committee call on Randy Boissonneau, Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Official Languages, to immediately resign from Cabinet, and that this call be reported to the House. Conservatives, and I believe all other opposition parties, are calling on the Prime Minister to remove Randy Boissonneau from Cabinet. This is the minister who pretended to be Indigenous, who told the House of Commons that he had a Cree great-grandmother, which he now admits is false, who has made all sorts of contradictory claims about his identity, who the Liberal Party said was Indigenous at various times in the past. So this is a minister who engaged in Indigenous identity fraud, and he did it perhaps for a variety of reasons, but one of which was enabling the company that he owned to claim that it was Indigenous while bidding for contracts from the government that he is also a part of. So he's a minister, he owns a company as well. That company was bidding for contracts from his government, and he was claiming to be Indigenous. The company was claiming to be Indigenous owned, and neither of those things were true. But this was designed to advance the commercial interests of his company and to make himself wealthier. This is the definition of corruption. It's identity fraud, it's corruption, it's lying about his identity in order to steal resources that should be going to real Indigenous entrepreneurs and real Indigenous communities. If that's not the sort of serious offense that leads to someone being removed from Cabinet, then I don't know what is. And you know, Mr. Speaker, we've got 5 Liberal members sitting across the way who tried to prevent me from moving this motion. None of them are in Cabinet. I'm sure all of them would like to be in Cabinet, and yet Randy Boissonneau remains around that Cabinet table despite his outrageous, offensive conduct. So the question today is, are we going to be able to pass this motion, or are we going to see Liberals who were passed over in favor of Randy Boissonneau filibuster to defend this corrupt pretender, or are we going to see this committee be able to get to a vote on this motion? And I hope we're able to get to a vote on this motion so that we can send a clear message that Indigenous identity fraud is serious, it's wrong, and it's been done in this case in order to advance the commercial private interests of a minister of the Crown. This is deplorable stuff. The minister must be fired. I hope we will be able to get to a vote quickly so that this minister will be fired, that a clear message will be sent to the House on this. And once we get to a vote, all committee members will no doubt be able to proceed with other things. So let's get this done. Thank you, Chair.